Fight commentary breakdowns here. Special guest. We have Dean Rosenwald. You guys asked me for a while to talk about Bokator. This guy is a professional Bokator guy. He teaches Muay Thai too and Lethwei, but since we're talking about Bokator, we're bringing him on to talk about Bokator. So, Dean, man, welcome to Fight Commentary Breakdowns.
Thank you, Jerry. Nice to see you.
That's right. We're shaking hands out. We're past this whole Ms. Rona thing.
No masks.
No mask, exactly. So, Dean, tell me about your history with Bokator. How did you get involved with it?
So, it's actually a pretty interesting story. I started training Muay Thai back in 2009, and I just got addicted to it. Started fighting in 2011. Actually lost my first fight, and then I actually won a national tournament as an amateur. So, got addicted to that feeling of winning a fight. And after I won that tournament, I actually injured my ankle, so I continued training. But I didn't fight from 2011 to 2015. And then my next fight in 2015 was in Thailand against the Thai guy.
Wow.
So I was super, then, that was kind of like my life, my passion. Came back to the U.S. and went to graduate school, so I wasn't able to fight. And then when I finished graduate school, I went back to Thailand and fought a second time in Thailand. So on my third time going to Asia, I was just there traveling. And so I had a plan to go to Bali, Cambodia, and Vietnam. And I'm a martial artist, so my goal was to train everywhere. And I was trying to train Muay Thai everywhere I went, because I know it's like a big international sport, right? Yeah. Everyone trains Muay Thai in every country, especially in Asia. So I get to Cambodia, and I start looking around for Muay Thai. I'm looking up fighting styles of Cambodia, and that's when I started learning about Paradal Sore and Kun Khmer, which are pretty much the same thing as Muay Thai. I'm sorry people get offended about that. In my opinion, Kun Khmer, Paradal Sore, and Muay Thai are basically the same fighting style. So, okay, cool. I'm getting into Cambodia, start looking up for Paradal Sore gyms, Kun Khmer gyms, and can't find one. I speak to my hotel concierge, and he goes, "Oh, I have a place for you." Calls a tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk picks me up and drives me to this abandoned field with corrugated metal, and that's all there is.
Wow.
So I get out. I go into through the gate, and I see a kid, not really a kid, probably maybe 18, 19-year-old guy teaching a bunch of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old people. And it looks kind of like Muay Thai. So I go in, and I see on this front, it says Bokator Academy of Cambodia. Wow. And on my flight, when I'm researching these fighting styles, Bokator doesn't come up. I learned about Paradal Sore, I learned about Kun Khmer, and I never heard about Bokator. So I give it a shot, and I went in there, and I spoke to the kid that was teaching. His name is Rouge and who's now a brother of mine. And Rouge is a black krama. This is a krama, which is what they use to denote levels. So he was a black krama, and he was teaching a class, and he told me, you can train with me, and then come back tomorrow, you'll meet my father. He's a Grandmaster. And I'm just okay, cool. So I do these little techniques with him, kind of like katas, but he honed his instruction to cater to my Muay Thai background. So he was teaching me things that I can use, different ways to block a kick by punching the thigh, really cool things that I never really thought about. So that was great. So I liked it, and I came back, and I see this super, super old dude. I think I have a picture of him here in this book. This picture. No, I'll pull up a picture later. But his name is San Kim Sean. You can see it right here. He wrote this book, San Kim Sean. And he was 70-something. Yeah, down there, Grandmaster. So he's the only gold crumb in the year. And I'll get into his story. Oh, here we go. This is him. Except he has gray hair now. Right? So I go in there, and I meet him. And I go, "Hello, Grandmaster. It's an honor to meet you." And he goes, "Hi, nice to meet you." I say, "I'm a Muay Thai fighter." And he looks at me and he goes, "Ha! Muay Thai come from Bokator." And me, being this uninformed, ignorant white guy from America, I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It comes from Thailand." Right? It was my response. And he goes, No, you don't know." And I was like, "I thought Muay Thai came from Muay Boran." And he goes, "Boran is a Khmer word. Boran means ancient."
Wow.
In Khmer. Muay means fighting in Thailand. So ancient fighting, and they stole the word Boran from from Cambodia.
Wow.
And he explained this to me.
So he drew all that to you?
He drew this whole map.
Wow.
Explained to me about the Khmer Empire, how it was like all of Southern Asia started out as the Khmer Empire, and then basically the Siam was northern China, and Khmer was southern China. Basically the Thai people kind of invaded and split up the empire, and then they created. I don't know the details, so again, forgive me for this, but I'm trying to, regurgitate what was taught to me by this 72-year-old man with broken English. The Thai people, spelled T-A-I, came down and kind of started a revolt against the king, the Khmer king, and that's how Thailand came to be, and then the Siam people kind of were oppressing the Khmer people for many years. And what happened was, at Angkor Wat, the Khmer people took back their temple, and that was in the town of Siem Reap, which is why it's called Siem Reap. Reap means put down, and Siam, S-I-E-M, is referring to Siam, the northern China. So anyway, that was broken down to me, and then he explained to me that the Khmer warriors, the Khmer soldiers that made up the army of the ancient Khmer Empire, their style of fighting was Bokator. So if you just think logically, right? If Thailand didn't exist and Vietnam didn't exist and it was just the Khmer Empire and this was their fighting style, then everything came from that. Okay? So, they have Muay Lao, Muay Chaya, Muay Thai, you have Lethwei, you have all these fighting styles that are super similar. They all have, these little tiny shorts and they'll wrap their hands with ropes and they'll fight with ropes and all of this stuff that you've seen on like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies where he goes and fights and put the ropes on his hands, this is real. This really was the past. But it was in Cambodia. And history does not reflect that. And the reason the history does not reflect that is because in the 70s, there was something called the Khmer Rouge, where an evil dictator, Pol Pot, wanted to oppress his entire country and turn them into a country of farmers. Okay, so what he did was he actively sought out anyone with education. If you were in the street, right now, you would be killed. You know why?
Because we have culture and things of the past. So
the reason you would be killed is because you have glasses on.
Oh, so like if I had glasses, I would have to like get rid of that to hide the fact that, oh, wow, that is scary.
He was killing anyone with any level of intellectual regimen, whatsoever. Teachers, doctors, any type of educator, people who spoke more than just Khmer. If you were caught speaking French, you died.
Wow.
Okay, so of course he's going to seek out martial arts instructors. And this guy, San Kim Sean, was one of the most renowned martial arts instructors in Cambodia at the time. And Grandmaster, I apologize if I'm not getting this story completely correct. I'm just doing my best to say what you told me. So the Cambodian government starts searching for San Kim Sean, and a couple times they find him in the street, but they don't know it's him. So he pretends like he doesn't speak English. He pretends like he doesn't speak French, and he just talks to them in Khmer. And eventually they found his house, and they killed all his students.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
They killed his teachers, and he fled and hid in the jungle. And I think it was like 2 or 3 years he was hiding in the jungle and living off of like eating plants and bugs in the jungle.
Wow.
After I think 4 years of hiding, he fled Cambodia and went to the U.S. where he was able to become a citizen based on refugee status from fleeing the Khmer Rouge. Became a citizen and started teaching martial arts here, but he wouldn't teach Bokator because he was scared. So he was teaching Hapkido. Did that. I think again, I don't know the exact timeline, but I think he was here for about 10 years. Once Pol Pot was overthrown and the Khmer people took back their country, I believe he was contacted by the Cambodian government and asked to come back to start the Bokator Academy.
Wow.
So he did that, started the academy, had a son. His son's name is Reach Norkor, and this is now my family.
Wow.
When I go to Cambodia, these are my people. Last time I was there, it was the year my father passed away, and I told San Kim Sean what happened, and he said, don't worry, you're my son.
Aww, that's really touching. And tell me about this painting, this artwork. What's the story behind this?
So when I met him the first time I was down there, after he explained all the details of Bokator and the history of Bokator and how it evolved to Muay Boran, to Muay Thai and all that, I promised him that I would share his story. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And as a gift, he gave this to me. So this is a referee. This is an ancient Bokator fight, I think, from his memory, because they used to do this in the 70s. This is what they fight on. It's this elevated platform, and they have to stay inside this circle. As you can see, these guys have their kramas on, and they have shorts. Hold that for a second. The shorts are these big pieces of fabric, like this. And you basically put it between your legs, and then you roll it up and tie it. And you can kind of see how they did it. They tied it with the krama here, and it's rolled up in between their legs. So this is one fighter, this is the other fighter, and clearly he's got like a clinch hold, right? And he's throwing a knee, which is, classic Muay Thai. Yeah. And yeah, again, this is the referee, and he's got a sash indicating that he's the ref. And yeah, and even like MMA kind of glove.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or I guess those are like wraps that they would use. So yeah, and then on the back of it,
oh wow,
he wrote this letter. He wrote this note to me. It says, "Grandmaster San Kim Sean, Gold Krama, as the main revival Khmer spirit, traditional martial art Kun Bokator." So this was made on April 2004. Founder of the Cambodian Kun Bokator Federation and Kun Bokator Academy, and the father of modern Kun Bokator.
Wow.
Kun means fight.
Fight.
Or boxing. Just like Muay means fight or boxing.
Fight, exactly.
So, and actually, here's the etymology. I forgot to read this.
Oh, of like the word.
Yes. And so he actually like changed it. Yeah. Changed the word. Yeah. Like he put an X in it, right, to make it like box. To make it more like an Americanized, boxing thing.
I see.
So this is his thing. Yeah. Bokator is him.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm getting is that if not for him, Bokator might have been lost for good from Cambodian history. So for those of you asking us, for people who know Bokator, this is the closest we can get in the U.S. Until maybe one day Grandmaster comes to the U.S. and comes.
Well, his son is going to come.
Oh, his son?
Yeah, Reach is going to come. He has a citizenship.
Oh.
Because he's his son. Right?
Yeah.
And he got his citizenship as a refugee.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to get Reach here. They're very poor. They're very, very poor. Grandmaster is very, very protective and particular about working with anyone.
I see. Makes sense.
He would rather live poor than compromise the integrity of Bokator.
Yeah.
And he does. His whole family lives in a house that's like the size of this living room and kitchen.
Wow.
They have like a hammock, another hammock, and like a hot pot.
Wow.
And that's how they live. He's Grandmaster of Bokator.
Yeah.
So, as a martial artist, as someone who like really appreciates and cares about other cultures, it's hard for me to accept that, and sometimes I question his business decision making. But I understand where he's coming from. Because this is his life's work. Yeah. This is his family. His uncle taught him, and his uncle's uncle taught his uncle. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about the Cameroonians, it sounds like what Cambodia went through was like what China went through with all their martial arts getting destroyed, but like in a more concentrated like few years. Yeah. It's
Yeah, it was really it was terrible. They actually slaughtered 25% of their country.
Wow. Yeah.
So 1 in 4 people were murdered.
Wow.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Killing Fields.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. The movie The Killing Fields, if you want to know about some of the atrocities, watch The Killing Fields.
Yeah, so they would hold these detainees that were just teachers. Yeah. Like they didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. And then they would take them out into the field and just slit all their throats at once. And that's how they slaughtered all of their people. Yeah. I did want to talk one more about my experience when I fought in Angkor Wat. So the second time I returned to Cambodia, that's where I got this. It was Cambodian New Year, which is called Angkor Sankram. And it's a similar name in Thai, actually, and it's around the same time. So there was a big exhibition, like there's a big party at Angkor Wat. So I don't know, have you been to Angkor Wat?
I have not, but I think we've all seen beautiful pictures of that place.
So it's kind of like, you've seen pictures of the Taj Mahal, yeah? Like you see the picture of the Taj Mahal and you have to walk like half a mile to get there. It's similar to that. So you get into the compound where Angkor Wat is, and you can't even really see the temple. Then you have to drive all the way up to the entrance. Then you turn right. Then you can walk into the temple. So it's a big, huge compound. And so there was a big like party celebration and exhibitions of Cambodian styles dance.
Yeah, it's good.
Cambodian styles of dancing and all and food, and there was a huge Bokator exhibition, like huge, not just from Siem Reap, but even like Grandmaster. You know, I don't want to call them rivals, but all the other teachers in the world are not exactly thrilled that he calls himself the only gold Khmer, which I believe that he is, and he's the one that really revived the art because everyone else was afraid that they would get killed if they talked about it. So anyway, me being friends with the family, I got a special pass to go into Angkor Wat every day of the celebration. So that's how I got this Bokator outfit. They gave it to me to participate in the exhibition. So these are what they use. They wrap their hands with ropes. They don't use gloves when they fight. So they just like hand wraps all the way around the knuckles, around the wrist. Then you have the your hand wraps, the ropes. This is the shorts that I was talking about earlier. It's just like one long piece of fabric that they wrap, and then they tie it with your krama. And your krama is denotes your skill level. So obviously I'm a white krama. You know, I haven't been living in Cambodia that long, but my good friend Lucas Rosa, he did spend 6 months in Cambodia, and he was a recipient of the Watson Fellowship, which allowed him to travel the world for a year and study martial arts and write about it. Yeah, Lucas Rosa is actually my best friend Charles Rosa, his little brother. Charles Rosa is a UFC fighter. He just won on Saturday. Yeah, so this is the book that was written by San Kim Sean. It has all the different styles. It has pictures of different strikes, different warm-ups, how to defend and attack, and things like that. So anyway, back to the story. So I'm in Angkor Wat with the Bokator people, and we got all of our outfits on. Next thing we know, one of the programmers of the event came up to Charles and I and asked if we would put on a demonstration. And, you know, we were the only foreigners there. It was all Khmer people. So we were like, yeah, sure. So we put, you know, they wanted us to like demonstrate Bokator, or what a real fight would look like. And we had been training Bokator. It's like a different style. We stand like,
interesting.
Stand like this, right? And you go down a little bit. You stand like this. There's actually 3 stances. There's the high stance, which is like this. The medium stance, which is like this, and then the low stance, which is here.
So it's much lower.
It's got ground too. There's grappling. There's grappling. Yeah.
I see.
So and you don't just do one side, right? You actually, this is how you stand.
Oh, so you're kind of like ambidextrous. You're switching.
So what you do is they dance as a distraction. So you'll switch, dancing, do this kind of thing, switch, boom, right? And now you're here. And you threw the shot. So, yeah, we were totally down to do this. So we're like, yeah, we'll do it. And we think it's going to be like a choreographed fight. And basically, next thing we know, they come with cups, mouth guards, gloves. They clip our toenails.
Wow.
And go to our separate corners. And they're like, all right, you guys are going to fight each other.
Wow.
And this is a UFC fight.
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, I guess I'm going to fight my best friend. So we did talk, you know, beforehand. I'm not going to roll with this guy who's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I was like, listen, if you take me down, dude, I'm going to let you do whatever you want to me. So we went the 3 rounds. We went pretty hard. We threw a good bit of strikes at each other, landed a bunch of strikes, and at the end of the 3rd round, he got me to the ground, put me in a Peruvian necktie. That was the end of that. But it was amazing. Yeah. We were doing like Bokator, and all these submissions are part of Bokator. One other important. So that was the experience of a lifetime. Like I couldn't put a monetary value on doing that. Like fighting at Angkor Wat with Charles was like, you know. Just unbelievable. So I have a bunch of video of the fight, of the celebration. It's not up on YouTube, but I give it all to you. Okay, sure. And you can do whatever you want with it. Put up a little bit, So your fans and stuff could check it out. So the other thing I wanted to add about so during the Khmer Rouge, not only did they kill all these teachers of Bokator, but they burned all the documents.
Oh
the techniques.
man, that's exactly what happened in China too.
Yeah.
Shaolin Temple, like the Red Guards went in there and just like destroyed the walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with that, but I'd like to read up on that because
Yeah.
I'm very into Shaolin Kung Fu, just the ideology of it. But yeah, so the Khmer Rouge soldiers, they just would burn everything. He's rewriting them now. This is the first book that he rewrote of the forms. Like this, these aren't written down anywhere.
Yeah.
He's the only one that has them. So in order to put this back together, and this is the craziest thing, the only place that has the techniques documented are the walls of Angkor Wat.
And tell me, why did Angkor Wat survive all of this? Was it because it was like lost to history for a little bit?
Well, first of all, if you go to Angkor Wat, I don't know if you've seen what's that movie with Tony Jaa where they take the head of the Buddha. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it The Protector or one of those?
Possibly. Anyway, there's a movie with Tony Jaa in it. I don't remember what it's called. And the theme of the movie is that someone stole the head of the Buddha statue. Okay, and Tony Jaa has to go and get it back. If you go into Angkor Wat, every head is missing from the Buddha statue. This is real shit. Like, this is real. So the heads are missing, and if I remember correctly, the Thais had control of Angkor Wat, and they took all the Buddha heads. But it was such like a beautiful temple that they wanted to keep the temple. So that's, again, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. The crazy thing is that the heads are actually missing. Like, I have a bunch of photos of me next to these Buddha statues without the heads on, which is like very sacrilegious.
Yeah,
It's offensive.
Yeah.
So since Grandmaster, he can't really like move. I mean, he does move fast, but he's not like strong. You know, he's like 70 something. So he sends Reach, his son, to go to Angkor Wat, take photos of different techniques from the walls of the temple, and then he brings them back to his father, and his father studies them and then translates them into actual techniques.
And uses sort of his memory of what he's learned to kind of interpret them correctly.
Yeah. So these drawings, like, look, it's right here. This is
that's from Angkor Wat.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, like this is some kind of stance.
Yeah.
So every few weeks, Breach goes and takes pictures at Angkor Wat and brings the photos back to his father, and his father adds to his documentation.
Wow. So I think what I'm learning from Dean right now is Bokator is very much a revitalizing art. So Dean got to really live through the history of the art coming back, and you know, as the art continues coming back, let's feature the art a lot on Fight Commentary Breakdowns. I think this is really exciting. You know, it's a tragedy what happened in Cambodia, but thank goodness Bokator wasn't completely lost, and it's being brought back, and who knows what kind of cool martial arts wisdom we're gonna find from it.
Yeah, I'll send you all the videos I have. You can put them up. It's just honestly like it's really been hard for me as a martial artist to have all this knowledge and know that pretty much nobody knows about this stuff. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to share this information. And again, Reach, Grandmaster, everyone out there, if I've said something that's inaccurate, I apologize, but this is what I was taught, and this is what I remember from the Grandmaster San Kim Sean.
Wow, that's amazing. So guys, this is Dean Rosenwald from Santa Monica Striking, right? Yeah. And we'll have him maybe do another video soon. So there's gonna be a follow up, or maybe he tells us some of the basics, teaches us some more of the basics of Bokator. So stay tuned for that, man. If we just find you on your website, it's just SantaMonicaStriking.com.
Yeah, SantaMonicaStriking.com. Check us out on Instagram, Santa Monica Striking. And yeah, my phone number's on the website. If you guys are local, if you guys are in Santa Monica or LA, just give me a call. You know, I'm happy to travel for private lessons or whatever. I pretty much teach, when I teach like for fighting. So a lot of the stuff that I will teach, if you want to learn how to fight, isn't going to be like Bokator stuff. It's going to be like Muay Thai striking kind of thing. But I'm happy to teach Bokator. I know a few things that I can teach. I know how to throw specific punches and, you know, the crazy jump up on your head and drop the elbow stuff.
Wow.
I can do all that. So yeah, hit me up. Check us out, SantaMonicaStriking.com.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Dean, thank you, man. Guys, follow-up video to come.